In other news, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the lawmaker representing Kogi Central, has taken to the United Nations Parliamentary Union in New York to report her suspension from the upper legislative chamber. At the Women in Parliament session, Senator Natasha sought justice and the intervention of global democratic institutions over what she described as injustice meted out to her. She says she fears for her safety and worries she might be detained against her will in New York by, quote, powerful forces from Nigeria. Let's cross now live to our National Assembly correspondent, Sagir Ibrahim, for more on this story. Sagir, this is fresh off the wires. There's a lot to unpack here. What more do we know?
Well, Adesha, good evening. Thank you for having me on tonight. It's seeming like there seems to be no end to what some would only describe as the continuous unraveling of what now seems like a bulb of onions. You want to unravel one, meet another one. Once you unravel another layer, you meet just another one. You would recall that the last statement that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan made upon receiving a suspension from the National Assembly is, "This injustice will not stand." That was on the 6th of March before she left the Senate chambers. I strongly believe that this is a follow-up to that statement. She has taken a cry this time, of course, to the International Parliamentary Union, where she spoke at the Women in Parliament session held, of course, during that meeting. She had alluded, of course, during the meeting that because of the gravity of the suspension that was meted on her, she can no longer identify as a senator representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria and representing Kogi Central indeed. She can no longer parade herself as such, be it internationally or locally, thereby making her presence at that particular meeting illegal. This sort of brings to perspective the dynamics, to which the suspension and the level and severity to which the suspension could take. Earlier today, of course, we saw a group of demonstrators who came to the front of the National Assembly, and they were very emphatic. In fact, some of them called Senator Natasha Akpoti some unprintable words, out of one of which was a serial betrayer and a serial blackmailer.
Right.
She claims that the Senate had suspended her because of her allegations, against the Senate President bordering on sexual harassment.
Right.
But of course,
yeah. So I just wanted to quickly ask you, because of the significance of this going to a global stage. As a matter of fact, the Commission of the Status of Women is marking its 30th anniversary, and I believe that that's the current session where she reported this issue is one of the sessions for the Commission of the Status of Women. Powerful platform she's gone to in a month that celebrates women to discuss what she describes as injustice meted out to her. One of 4 female legal lawmakers, I should say, in the Assembly. How significant is this, quickly before you go? Because, of course, this is still unraveling and we have to wait to see where it goes.
Quite significant, Adesha, and the reason is simply because in a situation where you found yourself where the general populace, and this time now being her colleagues, have not done enough in this situation to speak up, to support her. She had made an allegation. This allegation borders around sexual harassment. Now, of course, we are quite aware of what has been going on in the media space with regards to all of this. There should be some form of investigation. There should be some form of acknowledgement that, look, whether she has flouted Senate rules or not, an allegation of sexual harassment has been made. There has to be an investigation to unravel the severity, whether it holds any water or not. But unfortunately, this has not been done up until this time. It might interest you to know as well that the case that she has currently in court against the Senate President does not even border on sexual harassment. In fact, that case is supposed to be a defamation suit, which she filed involving the senior legislative.
Let me quickly come in here. I wanted us to all listen together to what Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan said at the Women in Parliament session in New York. Let's have a listen.
It depicts the crisis of women political representation. My suspension is not just about me. It's about the systemic exclusion of women from political leadership in Nigeria. Women make up 3.6% of political offices, and in the Senate, it's just 2.8. We have 109 men, and only 4 of us are women. So right now, it's 108 with only 3 women. This is a clear case of political victimization, punishment for speaking out against impunity, corruption, and gender-based violence. The United Nations Declaration 48/104 declares sexual harassment as a form of gender violence. The Senate's actions are an assault on democracy. I was elected by my constituents to represent.
Those are pretty consequential allegations there. Sagir, she said, my suspension is not just about me. This is political victimization. This story is obviously not going anywhere. We're going to need you to keep an eye on it as we bring more to our viewers. Thank you so much, Sagir Ibrahim, our National Assembly correspondent. Thank you.